My hand's stable, I feel able to turn the tables, I could do this. Just keep moving, keep your hands up, stupid. I feel lucid, a new viewing. I can see the end, I can see my future, I can view it. It's right there for the taking. Everything I've ever wanted, dreams are just waiting. I just gotta fight for it, willing to die for it, willing to like sort of.
Hey, greetings from the year 3000, it still sucks. This is Philip J. Price, and you're listening to the Drunken Turkey Show, your one stop for this sort of thing. Hit that button, like and subscribe. You know what to do, just like every other podcast.
Show. I'm Daniel. Alongside with me is Big Blue. How you doing, Big Blue?
Just like every other podcast, man. I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
That's good, my man. Now I got everything set up. We want to say a special, happy birthday to the one and only Jaime. He was not here tonight because apparently I think his family was taking him out. And so here's to you, my man. Have a happy 47th.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm not going to give his real age. What do you think I'm going to dox my homie?
Happy 21st birthday. That's it.
21st.
Yeah. Don't drink too many tonight.
Yeah. Keep it. We don't want to have to bail you out, my man. But if we do, if we have to, we'll go live. And that way, so make sure you hit like and subscribe and hit that notification button so you're well aware of that. So it's tomorrow's Halloween, Blue. Are you got any plans going out anywhere?
Just take the kiddos trick-or-treating. It's gonna be kind of cold and hopefully not rainy because that would be sucky, but yeah, cold. So we're just gonna go do some trick-or-treating.
100%. That's pretty cool, man. I think we got new emojis. Did you see those, Blue?
Not yet. I haven't seen any. Let's see.
Meg's kind of hoping that Jaime needs a ride home. I'm sure he does as well. Happy birthday to Jaime. There they are. They're the new emojis coming out. Check them out. Look at them. You got to look at them on the you have to see them on the Facebook chat, but we have a what is it? It's a Big Blue. Pay attention.
Yeah, that's always me. I'm always distracted.
Yeah, so whenever you see just the word blue, that's just somebody saying blue. Pay attention. We got the things of that nature. We have the 100%. We have the whatnot. And I think there was another one. I don't remember, but I put all these up in there today. Go check them out. If you're interested in hitting up or being a member, it's in the description. And Canadian True Crime Buff comes in with 5 gifted memberships. Make sure you guys turned on your gifts so that way you get those memberships. We appreciate everybody.
Yeah, and see the hat. Everybody liked my turkey hat. It was unintentional, but this is a friend's hat. And we have some sad news. 2 days ago,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Perry passed away. So sad situation, and it's everybody's upset. I mean, because they were supposedly going to do a reboot of the show.
Oh man!
And so maybe they were able to shoot some episodes before he passed. I don't know this. It was a weird situation. Did you read how it happened? That
he passed in his jacuzzi, right?
Yeah, but it was like 4 a.m. or something, and after playing 2 hours of pickleball, we gotta ask Mark, see how how intense is pickleball. 'Cause I played pickleball a long time ago, but only for a little
Yeah, but
bit. I mean, it's a strenuous activity, especially. I was watching, and I guess there's already experts already talking about how if you do some extraneous activities and then you get into a pool, it's not good because it can, I guess, open up your veins or something, make
mhm.
the blood flow more, or tighten them up. I can't remember. I was tired when I was watching the video, but there's a thing called that happens to a lot of people when they get into a hot tub after exercising and getting up too rapidly that they pass out. And then you have to like sit them up or elevate their legs a little bit, get the blood flow flowing back. I wonder if that happened and nobody was there to help them.
Yeah. You know, you made a lot of good points there, especially with the hot tub and being in there in the heat. You know, he had and just falling asleep. You know what I'm saying? And it just not be a situation where it was on purpose or involving anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was just sheer bad luck. I mean, it does raise your blood pressure. That's why if you see the signs sometimes when you go by pools, it's just heart conditions and stuff like that. You can't do certain things, especially like at the gyms. They have signs on the pools and the hot tubs about certain things that can happen.
Yeah. And no, Jeff, I'm not sure what cowboy kid you're referring to. Um, you know, behind me, I'm here at the what is it, the Dutton Ranch, and so I'm just going for one of one of the Yellowstone ranch hands.
And let's say, yeah, you're doing Yellowstone.
Mm-hmm. So
Well,
nobody in particular. I don't want to copy anybody's style. I'm myself.
unfortunately, I couldn't wear the green shirt that Monica wears to fit the turkey hat from Friends because my green screen would turn it clear. So I stuck with a blue shirt. And if anybody watches Friends, that's what the hat's from. I bought this weeks ago before Mr. Perry passed away. So, but may he rest in peace.
You know, it was a great hat, man. You know, I remember when Blue bought it. He sent us pictures. He's like, "This is gonna be my new hat for the show," and for whatever reason, we just hadn't put it on yet. But yeah, Matthew Perry, rest in peace. Vet Gerber says, "Hello, DTS and everybody. Have a safe and happy Halloween for sure. 100%, 100%." I think there's a couple of emojis people can put on there now. Oh yeah, I put a drink emoji. I think that's in there too. Check it out. Check it out. I think it's just drink. Blackberry Smoke. Some of their songs are on Yellowstone. Interesting. I need to check them out. You know who's my favorite band that's come out on Yellowstone? It's got to be Whiskey Meyer. What do you think about Whiskey Meyer, Blue?
Oh man, I found that about Whiskey Meyer probably about 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
When they were before they came out in Yellowstone and they were up and rising, and I think the tickets used to be like $25,
Mm-hmm.
and now it's like, man, the tickets are like double for where they played like VIPs, like $80 now, and it's a small venue, but they're good. I like them.
Yeah, I want to go see them live, man. I haven't seen them live, but I liked them before Yellowstone as well. The song that I heard that got me interested in them was it's the one about the where he's got the rifle from his grandfather, and then on that same album they have Broken Window Serenade. That one also that was one of my favorite songs. Guitar Pickler. If that one's an underrated Whiskey Meyer song of all time, one of my favorite songs. If you haven't heard that one, go check it out.
One of my coworkers is a huge fan, man. He's been to probably, I want to say 6 shows already, and he's crazy enough to buy the right now since they're small, since they were still small at that time. I don't know how they're doing it now. Every concert they have, they would make posters. And he said these posters went for like $80 to $100 sometimes, or 45 when they first started. I think now it's like 80, but it's like the poster of that show. So he's got like 6 of them already, man.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they're like they only make like 100 per show, so you have to like be in line to get it early, and then you can put them up on the walls and stuff. They're pretty cool.
So, Blue, if you were to go to karaoke night somewhere, and you were asked to sing a Whiskey Myers song, which one are you singing?
Oh man, I don't know. They have so many good songs, but my voice, I can't carry my voice like them, so I probably wouldn't butcher it that bad.
Just pretend everybody's in their underwear, man. You'll be all right. What song is your favorite? Which one? What would you try?
One that I don't know the name of the song, but it says "Carry My Bones."
No, it's not "Carry." It's "Bury My Bones."
Bury My Bones.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes, that's a great song. That is great. That would have been the one I was going to choose too, Blue. You mother trucker.
I like them, but I don't remember the names of the songs. I listen to them all the time when I'm trying to go to bed. I'll put on Texas Country, and they come up all the time.
Yeah,
they're a good band, underrated band. But the other one that I like is this damn song. That's a good song by. I had the name right now in my head. Something on the Roof.
Gotcha. The guy that plays the musician in Yellowstone, I'm not too familiar with it. I think I watched up to 4 seasons, and then I think I ran out of my free Peacock subscription or whatever, Paramount. So I haven't seen it since. And what was airing on TV was like super far ahead. But the guy that plays the musician, he's actually, I guess, a musician in real life. Wears a white hat, kind of flat build like this one. You know which one I'm talking about? What's his name?
I'm trying to remember his name. I honestly only seen season 1. That's the only season I've seen.
Well, he has a song called I think it's like Southbound Heaven, South Side of Heaven. That one's a good song. All righty, y'all. Let's get into the actual content, man. We already kind of rambled off for about 13 minutes. We're doing a Q&A. If you guys have any questions, comments or concerns or whatever, just want to spark up a conversation, referencing the Richard Allen case or the Bryan Kohberger case. Those are the 2 cases we're the most familiar with. I mean, you can bring up other stuff. I mean, other questions. It doesn't matter. And, we'll have that conversation. My cousin's husband and stepson were extras in Yellowstone. Kind of know several others too, since it's films fairly new. Oh, that is awesome. There it is. Ryan Bingham. True story. Garth Brooks wore a hat like this too. This is a what kind of hat do you think this is, Big Blue? Do you know anything about hats?
I don't know the name of that style, but I've seen it.
You've seen it. Well, I mean, the style is one thing. It's because you can style almost any hat. You
get them shaped any way you want. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Round.
You know what?
Bill, huh?
Whoever gets it right in the comment section first, we'll send you a beanie.
There you go. I got a couple. So I'm gonna put a rancher hat and a Stetson hat.
Nope, neither one.
Billy Jack.
No.
You know which one I've always wanted was the blue felt. Cowboy hat. Just because it's blue, they charge 3 times as much for the cowboy hat.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, somebody put preacher hat.
No. the maker, the brand. It's there's several different types of brands. Fedora, no, it's not a Fedora. Not a Stetson. Nope. Nope. Not a Stetson. What's that, Blue?
Somebody asked what the question was, and I was going to say it was, what type of hat is it? Who makes it?
What brand?
What brand?
Yeah, those that know cowboy hats would probably be able to tell pretty quickly. Well, then again, I'm not sure if it's like maybe just the Texas thing. I think if you're from Texas, you probably know, because I think we only get certain brands. We get the Stetsons, we get the Texan. No,
Yeah,
but
no, there should be brands the same. The rodeo circuit goes everywhere, so they got to have the same brands, but they might have other makers.
Yeah,
So
this maker. And then I'll tell you the color. It's black cherry, man. It's black cherry, and it's a felt. It's one of my winter hat.
I like this one. It's a tiara.
A tiara. That's funny. That is funny. Check it out. If you guys probably look up, I don't know, black cherry felt hats, Texas, you probably be able to, narrow it down. We got a winner. One more down. Ding, 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 ding. Yes, it is a rodeo king. We got a winner. Meg, send us an email and we'll send you out a beanie. Email is drunkturkeyshow at gmail.com.
Yeah, when I went to the rodeo last year, saw a beautiful blue felt hat, and it's because the fur they use, I think it was some type of beaver pelt or something.
Mm-hmm.
It was $800 just because it was blue.
Damn.
I was like, no, you can take it back. I just wanted to look at it.
I don't remember how much mine was, man. It was up there.
Yeah, I mean,
it was up there.
I feel comfortable spending on a cowboy hat maybe $250, $800, and I don't use it much.
But the thing is, this one was I bought this one specifically initially was for me and my wife's wedding, and so I wore this at the wedding, so that's why I went a little bit more up there for the hat. But I told my wife, I'm not just gonna wear it once. This isn't a wedding dress. I'm gonna wear my hat, and I've worn it, anytime we do some kind of like special event, or we went in, I think the last time I wore it, what's up, Jay Turkey? The last time I wore it was we went to the rodeo, and we got we ended up getting VIP tickets to the Ludacris. He was at the San Antonio rodeo, and I sported it there, and I think I was like maybe 2 rows away from him, and it was a crazy show, man. But you can't understand a dang thing from down there. Like you can hear kind of the bass, kind of hear like an echo of the voice, and I'm like, I mean, it's cool that you get to like see the guy and he's right there, but a little far. I want a princess cut hat. Big Blue, I think they're talking about yours.
I know. Mine's perfect because it has a tassel, so you get a little wild, you start shaking the tassel around.
Get a little wild, Blue. Get a little wild. There was some news today in the Richard Allen case, so we'll talk about that real quick. And then you know what? I'll bring up, if nobody has any questions, I'll bring up some of the comments and questions that I've been seeing, mostly in the in our comment section and whatnot. Hey, Cynthia, she has a $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Daniel, how's your dog? Is he fully recovered now? I don't know if he's ever going to be fully recovered. I think that he is probably going to be as best as he's going to get. The IVVD that he had, the severity was on the severe end, where he actually lost mobility. So it was kind of like a 50-50 shot that he'd even be able to stand up or walk. And so the fact that he's like moving and walking now, and can potty on his own for the most part. Sometimes if he's I don't know, sometimes he'll get a little worked up because he's a Frenchie, so he has to talk the most. And so if there's another dog that comes in, or somebody visits the house, he'll get real worked up, and as he's barking, he'll leave a little surprise, and one that you have to pick up with a bag. And so it is what it is. But yeah, now he's doing a lot better. He's on his way. He's been good. Can he use a dog walker with? He doesn't need one. Not right now. I mean, sometimes he gets tired because like at first he couldn't walk, and we had to put it's like a towel thing. And it wasn't a towel thing, but you can imagine using a towel. This had these harnesses, and we had to walk them, and we had to actually well, not me, it was my wife. She did mostly everything. She's an amazing woman. You'd have to like literally squeeze and force him and help him to go potty outside. And then he started to progress and get better. He got to the point where he could stand, and then he would walk, but it hurt me, but we had to, get him to get better. But when he would walk, he would like drag his knuckle or the top of his paw because he couldn't get his foot up. And then now he can get it going, and he doesn't, how can I put it? He doesn't look like a normal dog when he's running. He kind of looks like a bull, like trying to get somebody to come off of him. Yeah. So he bucks around.
He bucks.
Yeah. Kind of, sort of. Maybe not so high, but just like, kind of like a wild horse. You know what I mean? You know how you see a wild horse kind of just bucking around? That's what he looks like when he's moving from one place to another. It's more like a wild horse.
So, do I have pets? My daughter has a white shepherd, and she calls it the wolf because it looks like a white wolf, and it acts like a wolf sometimes. It tries to eat anything that gets in my yard, especially squirrels. I was bringing her in last time, and she had something in her mouth. I thought it was one of her toys, and it was a squirrel. So the squirrel wasn't fast enough.
One time, I don't remember where we were, but it was myself, and it was myself, my wife, Jaime, like maybe 3-4 other people, and I think we're outside, having like a fire or whatever, and it was during the time it was cold, and we're all like in conversation talking, and I smell something. I look down, freaking Nelson is taking the biggest dump right in the middle of the circle, and we were kind of close to each other because it was cold, right? And so he's a jerk. I love the little guy, but he's a jerk. He took a crap on Jaime's foot one time. No lie. So yeah, if he doesn't like you, or if you yell at him, or if you get onto him, or you say, Nelson, quit it, go to your crate or whatever, right? And you just tell him stop it. If he's barking, you tell him hush. You have to keep your eye on him because he'll go mess with your stuff. He'll go pee on something or do something worse, like on your shoes. He's a funny guy. Let's see. We have a 199 super chat says, was BH re-interviewed on August 23 like Patrick Westphal? It was Brad Holder. I don't know. I haven't heard anything like that, but I would assume that they would. What do you think, Blue? Do you think that they would have gone and interviewed Brad Holder based on everything that we know, right? The defense has come out and said that there's uh, this evidence that these guys could possibly be involved.
Yeah. Yeah, I would think that since the defense is trying to blame them, they might interview him, but they might not, because that's something where the police would have to, bring him back for another interview and open up another case, pretty much, if they're being accused. But I think with the amount of years and the amount of time and the rumors, I think they might have already been investigated, because we already been told that when Mr. Fields had mentioned that he can explain why one of the victims would have his sputum on her when he was being investigated by one of the officers. So, but I think if there's a new attorneys that they're going to get, maybe they might have to open up another case and clear it, or if they haven't already.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Yes. Speaking of the new attorneys and stuff, and the route that the old attorneys were going, we know that right now the Richard Allen's former attorneys are fighting to maintain and stay Richard Allen's attorneys. That speaks a lot to me, man. This is a lot of volume. That speaks volumes to me, because let's just say that they thought this guy was actually guilty. You think that they would put their career, their everything? I mean, they had an out to withdraw. Now that they want to get back on, if there was any type of misconduct or anything involved in that, or similar to that, they can get punished, and it can affect their licensing with the bar, the whole 9 yards, right? So, what does that tell you? The fact that these guys are willing to fight back to be his attorneys.
I think it's one of those things where they want to prove that that they're competent, because if it's a leak, we know that the leak came from their office. That's going to tarnish the reputation of the law firm, and they probably don't want that, because that's a lot of money they lose. I mean, these law firms some of them make millions of dollars a year. You know what I mean?
But does it really tarnish? What if they win? I mean, if your life is on the line, don't you want the attorney that's willing to put their job on the line for you?
You do, but I mean, after they want to do this after they got caught, kind of like I would say, if it was me, they were representing me, and my stuff got leaked out, I would say, what makes me think that it ain't gonna get leaked out again? Are you gonna upset another employee if it was an upset employee, and they're gonna release more stuff? Are you gonna? But everybody does deserve a second chance. It's hard. It's hard, man. Like,
I mean, you can only control what you control, right? I mean, at a certain point, the responsibility of the person that committed the actions of releasing those photos, I mean, they're the ones that are solely responsible for that. For instance, I get it in the eyes of the bar and law enforcement, or in lawyer, their hierarchy. I get it, but when it comes down to, like, if they did anything severely bad, it really wasn't them. It was somebody they hired, or somebody who had access to their building. Now, if it was like an ex-employee that got upset, like, those things are going to happen. You're going to have ex-employees that get upset. Now, is it the most common thing that an ex-employee is going to go and, throw out classified material? Probably not. But
yeah, because I mean,
does it happen? Yeah.
If it is an ex-employee, and that's going to tarnish their career in the as a paralegal, as a lawyer, depending on what they were. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That means they can probably never work for another law firm when they do background. You know, because I'm pretty sure they're gonna get charged. I would.
Well, I don't
Like,
I don't know if they work for like a law firm like that, my man. I think they work for themselves. I think they are the boss. And they're the only thing that can happen to them is I'm assuming the state can like take their license away so that they can practice
yeah.
being a lawyer. But as far as like going to a different firm or any of those things, I mean, perhaps they may have a problem finding a partner. You know what I mean? Somebody who's going to allow them to like cohabitat. Like for instance, if we had the Daniel and Blue law firm, the D&B, and we would be like co-owners in that, 50-50 type of thing. And so you might have a problem going in a situation like that where you're going into one of those type of deals. But these guys are, from my understanding, I don't think they're like court appointed attorneys. They're appointed by the court because this is a possible capital murder case. All right. So you need attorneys that are able to try those type of cases or first degree murder cases. So that might be why they're there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know how big the city is, their town.
3,000 people.
Yeah, so there's not gonna be a lot of lawyers. So maybe they'll have to bring somebody in from out of town. But the thing is, like, what I was meaning was, I didn't think the lawyers leaked it. I was one of their employees, right? But most of the employees are either like undergrads or they're like paralegals. Mm-hmm. They're the ones that I was saying that they can't like go to another office and look for a job now because their reputation is tainted.
Understood. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right on that. I mean, not just those type of jobs, but like any federal jobs, any government jobs, any law enforcement jobs, any of those type of things. If they had a vetted interest in being in law enforcement one day, that's gone. Terry Blue comes in with a $4.99 super chat saying, "Did you tell Blue about the haunted railroad track field trip at night?" I told him about the haunted railroad track. I'm not sure if we've planned a field trip yet, but you down, Big Blue? You want to go?
Yeah, man, we can visit the Aqueduct.
Well, why do you want to visit the Aqueducts, my man? I've never heard about this.
Oh, you never been to the Aqueduct bar? It's right down the street from the tracks, and it's a pretty cool place. They have like I went last winter, and they have fire pits everywhere. They have food trucks, and they have like a little live band area. Mm-hmm. And the drinks ain't too bad. I like their micheladas were the best, man. I haven't had a michelada like that in a while. They put everything that I like in there: Tabasco, Worcestershire sauce, and then they put lime. They put the olives in it. Some places don't do olives, and then this one actually kicked it up a notch by adding a watermelon sandia paleta to it, and then the clamato, and then the pepper. And then I got Dos Equis with it, so it was Dos Equis, and it was nice. And the cool part about it is like they have a bunch of seating areas, so you can go. They have all these fire pits and actual wood fire burning pits, not just the gas, the gas little heaters or a gas pit, because some places have like little fake gas pits and they don't heat up for nothing. But those, they throw mesquite on in the middle of the pile, and everybody's just there drinking, having a beer, and then you get food from the food truck. Man, it's a pretty cool little place. It's called Aqueduct, and it's on the south side of San Antonio by the mission,
by the train
track mission area. Yeah.
All right, we'll do it. you went through this whole long ass story, and I'm like, yeah, we got it. All right, so
we could take kids out there too and dogs.
Oh, okay. I'm definitely down. Jeff goes, Daniel, do you think Murphy the dog ever got a glimpse of the killer? saw someone mention a theory where the killer spent a little time with the dog. I'm thinking not. Blue, I'll let you answer this one first. Do you think that the killer saw and or hung out with the dog for any period of time?
I mean, there's a possibility of it, yes. I've been to places, and and even as a guest, they have their dog in the kennel sometimes, and the dogs are peaceful and not barking. But if I have my dog in the kennel,
Well,
5 feet
hold on.
before you get to my door, she starts barking, man. She starts scratching at the kennel. She wants out. It depends on.
When do you think the killer would have hung out with Murphy? Before he took the lives of anybody, or during the middle?
I want to
After?
say probably if he was in the house, and maybe was waiting for him to go to sleep, but he didn't have that kind of time. Maybe he heard the barking and checked in there to see if there was anybody else that could be probably woken up, and maybe that's the only time I would think he would be in the room with the dog. Like, he would take a glimpse in there to see if anybody would wake up and disturb him while he was doing what he was doing.
Yeah, so for my answer, do I think Murphy the dog got a glimpse of the killer? Did he hang out with the dog? The second part, do I think that the killer had spent any time with the dog? The answer is no. Do I think that Murphy may have got a glimpse of the dog? Possibly. Or the killer? Possibly. And the only time that I can possibly think that it occurred was, if allegedly, if it's Bryan Kohberger who committed this crime, went up to the third floor, question which room he's going to go into first. And if he went into one room, even though there was two people in that room, does that necessarily mean that there wouldn't have been a person in that other room where Murphy was? So I can see where he gets up there, he goes into Madison's room, commits a crime. There's some noise there. Murphy's probably going to wake up, and he goes and opens the door. All right. And when he opens the door, kind of take a peek in there, make sure, see if anybody's in that room upstairs in the second and the third floor. Sees the dog starts barking, closes the door, goes downstairs, and Xana or somebody says somebody's here. Maybe they hear the dog barking. They feel the breeze from the rear glass door remaining open. Right. Xana Kernodle's mom came out on a crime sleuthin', I think is what it was, the YouTube channel, just the other day, and stated that Xana's locks to her bedroom had just been fixed by her father, and that they were specifically her bedroom. Right. So that tells me if Kohberger or the killer made his way into that room, and we know that both bodies from the PCA, both bodies are in the room, then that tells me that the killers came up from behind, as I'm assuming it's Xana, as Xana entered back into the bedroom. So my theory, where Xana gets up, goes out there, maybe hears something and says, I think someone's here, turns around to go tell her boyfriend Ethan, who's already asleep. It seems like it's probably most likely true. And I said that a couple of months ago, and that would make sense as to why there's no, so the DNA that they used to arrest and tie Kohberger to the scene was found on the sheath. Had there been DNA under the nails or blood or anything else, that would have been the DNA that they would have used to tie to Kohberger, because that DNA holds more weight. And regardless if it's Kohberger or not, whoever committed the crime, if they left DNA under somebody's fingernails or blood on, there's unknown blood on the victim's body or on their hands, that's the DNA you're going to test. You're not going to test the DNA on the sheath. yet. I mean, you probably will eventually, right? But that's not the first one you're testing, and that's not the one you're using for your arrest. You hear what I'm saying?
I
So,
get it.
so like I said, that all just kind of tells me that somebody was coming into that room when they got attacked, and perhaps, like I mentioned, there's no skin cells or blood or anything of the killer, regardless of who the killer is. There's none of that, right? And what's the most likely reason behind that? I would assume that the male, the biggest guy, was probably also still asleep. Now, we've seen some mattresses that have been moved out, and one in particular where it appears that there's only blood to one side of the mattress. So I would assume that that would be Xana's bedroom, and that what I think may have happened is the killer walked in and acted very quickly, because these people were, well, one person was awake and the other person is soon to be awake, right? This wasn't him walking into two people asleep like it was on the third floor, right? So I think that he, or the killer, whoever it is, leaves. Maybe perhaps he hears something, hears Dylan yelling, I don't know, but he leaves. And I think that if it was Ethan on the bed, that maybe he does fall over, and that after the killer leaves off the bed, right? Which is why it's been, Christy gave us the information that one of the bodies was blocking the door when Hunter Johnson went to go open it. So putting all that together, I think that makes sense. What do you think?
Yeah, man, I think, somebody said, how did the bodies get behind the door? I'm pretty sure, they were either on the edge of the bed, or maybe they still had a little life in them. They tried making it to the door after they tried leaving, and they passed away on the way there, and then they blocked the door. It happens quite often.
I mean, there's a possibility that, let's just say that if somebody was laying in bed and Xana's coming into the bedroom, she gets surprised from behind. And let's just say it's Ethan. He's laying in bed, that as he's getting up, the killer is on top of him, has him in a compromised position, is attacking the torso area, and leaves him on his side. And then he just rolls over. I mean, it doesn't have to be necessarily that he was alive. It could have been something as simple as, as the body, as the person passes away, the body goes through certain things. It releases certain things, and gases and stuff are moved around. So it's possible that some of those things happened, and he was just kind of close to the edge and fell over. So it doesn't necessarily mean that he was alive at that moment either. We don't know.
Yeah,
that's going to be up to the determination of the medical professional that does the autopsy.
Yeah, and then also the crime scene photos. I mean, if anybody's crawling and they've been, stabbed as many times as they were, either they were holding pressure, or you would see the hands like from them trying to crawl. So, the cops, I'm pretty sure, have a good idea of how that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, try opening the door. I mean, I'm pretty sure if somebody's laying in front of it, that door's gonna be hard as heck to open, because they start stiffening up after a certain time, and when people stiffen up, they're hard to move, man.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So Rose says, Elvis confessed. Why isn't he in jail? What he said about the horns was true. How would he know that was there? I mean, that's a pretty big. I mean, that's a pretty accurate statement. One that I struggle with. Elvis claims that he was there. He claims that he was going to go away for a long period of time. And for those that don't know, this is referencing Delphi. I know we're going to go back and forth between the two cases, but in the Richard Allen case, his defense team was saying that there was certain persons who were part of a Odinist group who were really the ones who were responsible for the death of Libby and Abby, and that it was a death that was it was a ritualistic type of scene that was left behind. The day after, I think it was the 14th, the day after they disappeared, one person named Elvis Fields, who was a guy that was hoping to be a member of one of this Odinist group, tells his sister that he was going to go away for a long time, and that he was on the bridge that day with the girls, and that they took their lives. I think he stated there was him and two others, and then he had a brother, and he was part of something or something to that nature. On another occasion, he had told his sister that one of the girls was a troublemaker, so he put horns on her with branches and spit on her face. When Elvis was questioned by police as he was leaving, he asked the officers that if they found his saliva on one of the victims and he had a good reason for it, would he still be in trouble? His sister took a polygraph test to the things that he had said to her, and she passed that polygraph test. So just for getting caught up, for those that don't know, I think it's remarkable that he's not looked at more. Just the fact that he was aware of things that wasn't released out to the public, the horns, things like that. I don't know if there was DNA there, but we've talked to a few people that stated that there was rumors that were going around early on that there was some sort of evidence that ended up being either lost or corrupted or couldn't be used for some reason based on the police's investigation. Something they did wrong.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Blue? Do you think this guy should be why do you think he's a free man if he's saying all these things?
One is they can't link him to it, maybe because, like I said, that if they weren't able to collect the DNA specimen right, or chain of custody was lost, then maybe they can't pin him there. And the other speculation is it's a small town, everybody might have talked about what happened. At the bar, the people that were part of the search team that found the bodies, I'm pretty sure they told somebody what they saw. And because it wasn't like they found the bodies and walked away. I think somebody said they that they I can't remember the story was when they found the bodies. It was somebody actually saying the recollection of what happened. Maybe we should see if we can find those people and see what they say. That'd be pretty cool. Because I think if somebody found it and they see all those, the blood dripped everywhere and they see the branches, they're not going to keep quiet. They're going to say something. Maybe the police would tell them not to say anything, but a small town like that, you'll hear it. Yeah, maybe I was just wanting some attention, but still, he knew too much information before it was released for him not to be involved.
Yeah, I mean it's weird, man. But here's the thing: if that information is getting to him, like you said, the one thing that could be there would be if somebody found it. One of the persons who found the scene, told somebody, and those rumors spread. But I mean, they'd have to get pretty close to Abby to see that, and I don't know, kind of put two and two together that those were horns and things like that. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. DC Primetime says, I'd like to have an interview with Patrick Westphal. I think he has a bullseye on his chest and should probably see what comes next. I know that Crime Sleuthin. Is it Crime Sleuthin? Sleuthin Intuition, I'm sorry. Had a interview with Patrick Westphal. We watched it. It was insightful. I don't know if he's involved or not, but I just don't know. These attorneys literally risk their life for the client by exposing odinism and prison guards. Very few will make that sacrifice for a PD contract client. That's true. And also, what is Richard Allen being accused of? Being a child life taker. Who's gonna risk their life if they truly, and reputation, if they truly thought that the person that they were representing may have been guilty in this case? How has your opinion, has it changed at all, knowing what we know from the defense and what's been going on, Big Blue?
I want to say I still think he was involved. I would say more people being there does sound more like what can actually happen when it has to deal with trying to control two people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if it's one person, I mean, it's doable, but that's why I thought, well, maybe he cocked the Glock back. He pulled it back, and one of the bullets came out. Because he was trying to intimidate them, so they wouldn't run off.
Right.
But people are heavy, and there's no there's no drag marks. There's nothing like somebody dragged the body all the way across. So
well, the state has in the paperwork from the state. They indicate that there was drag marks.
Was there? Okay.
For Libby, from one spot to another. It doesn't say anything about Abby having drag marks.
Yeah.
Abby was the smaller of the two.
I mean, people can carry people, but at his height, weight, he would have trouble.
I mean, if he's just trying to carry Abby, I think she was less, maybe 100 pounds or so, maybe less, somewhere around there. Mm-hmm. And Libby, she was on the heavier side. And so, it is weird or to think or concerning that a guy of his size, is he physically capable of moving these two victims around, two bodies around without, the other thing I find weird about the case is there's no DNA, like from the killer, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because they're not saying that they were, a rape kit was used and it came back positive to somebody. They haven't said anything like that.
Yeah, no, they haven't. If there was DNA, they would have tested Richard Allen. There would have been a buccal swab already, and I don't think that's happened. So the fact that hasn't happened tells me they didn't find any DNA or they didn't collect DNA.
Yeah, and that's what is one thing that everybody normally gets caught with is the DNA in a lot of big cases. But I want to see his defense if it's still going to be that he's going insane. He's losing his mind. To me, that's just the ruse.
Yeah, it could be. Lynn says, fame for the attorney in a case getting world attention. These attorneys need to go. Both over pictures being released, they are responsible for their employees and the security of information. I don't disagree with you in that. I really don't. They are responsible for their employees. But what I'm saying is, if it was a bad Apple employee and they terminated that person's contract to work with them, I just kind of feel that it would be a situation where what was I saying, Blue? Kind of distracted me with the it sounds familiar though, no DNA. Yeah.
You were saying that about the bad Apple, about them working for the lawyers.
Right, yeah. So they fired the guy already. So they took the problem out. And it wasn't from both lawyers. It was only from one.
Yeah.
Right. So that's where I question it. It sounds familiar, though. No DNA, really strange. Yeah. Yes, I think that it is strange that there is no DNA in the Richard Allen case. 100%. But we also have to put some context there that in the Richard Allen case, that one was outside, exposed to the elements overnight. Right. And so it wasn't like inside or in a locked room or any of those things. And by the looks of it, it doesn't sound, I mean, I don't know if it was one of those type of situations that would be perfectly planned. Right. This isn't a dextered out garage or any of those things. The person on the bridge wasn't wearing, a Dickies coverall suit. So from what we know, I would assume that there would have been more DNA at the Richard Allen case. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, especially to move the bodies. It didn't look like he had gloves in the video, but he did have his hands in his pocket. It's hard to tell. But the thing that gets me is the area. They were by the riverside, and then they had to walk towards the tree, and they got dragged. There should be shoe prints. You know what I mean? It's outdoors. They were by the river. It was muddy.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I'm not sure if they did take shoe imprints, and maybe later on they can link it to, shoe sizes. But it's hard because also the people that were, the search party that was around there could have contaminated the area. And you got all their shoe prints too.
Here's the thing, man. What if there is a size 7 or size 8 shoe out there, and they ruled everybody else out because they didn't have such a small shoe?
Yeah.
I still don't think that it was just him by himself.
Yeah, I think it was a few people. The way it's sounding out to be more, because.
And to Cynthia, I haven't seen the tattoos on the prison guards' hands. I'm not sure if they're Odinist runes. If you can send them to us at our email, drunkturkeyshow@gmail.com. Definitely love to see those. That way we can take a look at them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's gonna be a little while before he actually gets another trial, right? Because the lawyers want to appeal to try to be the lawyers again.
Well, not only that, but the new attorneys, and this is what I was going to read. It says the new attorneys of Richard Allen are asking the Indiana Supreme Court to make access to court filings more public and easier access after they claim there's been a lack of meaningful public access in the case. So even themselves here are saying, the new attorneys are saying, hey, we just got on here and there's already some stuff that's not right. Yeah, in a court document filed Monday, the attorneys for Allen, who is accused of killing Abigail Williams and Liberty German in Delphi in 2017, claim that hundreds of documents in the case have been improperly excluded from the public. The attorneys state that the 118 documents in the case have been excluded from public access. So, hold on. There's more to it. It says they also claim that the court has failed to perform the clear, absolute, and imperative duty imposed by the access to the court records rules, which state that the court records must be publicly accessible. According to their claim, documents are not only being excluded, but made difficult to follow for the average member of the public. The only way a member of the public can access anything in the case is if they somehow know to read the June 28, 2023 order, see the link embedded therein, and then proceed to open each of the 118 documents until they find the filing they're looking for. That is interesting. What do you think about that, Big Blue, that the state is making it so difficult to find certain documents about the Bryan Kohberger case. And
I mean, the Delphi
Oh.
case.
yeah, in the Delphi case, my bad. We'll start off with that question. What do you think?
I think they should have access to everything, but I don't know why they're making it difficult. Maybe because they didn't have a lot to begin with.
Yeah, I mean that could be one of the reasons, right? Like maybe they don't have as strong of a case as they're leading on. They don't want people to see their ineptitude. You know what's going on. You know, I agree. I think that if you go and look at the Bryan Kohberger case, it's not hard to look up and find his, the documents that are related to Bryan Kohberger. Why make it so difficult? And I don't know, man. It just seems like they're hiding things. What do you think?
But the other thing is, they might have more evidence that's more, I guess, have more of a guilty verdict, and if they still want to try to at least give him a chance for a fair trial, and not have every juror walk in with a guilty, what is it? Guilty that he's guilty before they even have the trial. Yeah, with their public opinion before they even have a trial. Maybe it's one other reason why they don't want to release everything to the new. They should though. But I'm talking about I'm trying to explain both. Why they don't want to release more information to the public and release all the information to the new lawyers.
Angel D comes in with a $5 super chat. Says, "Damn Jay, you're ruining my life. Stop saying alternatives to things of that nature." I think I said things like that. Awesome. They're coming in with a 6-month membership. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. Let's see.
So yeah, because it only works when you say things of that nature. It doesn't work when I say it. So
possible. I think it does work when you say it, Blue.
Oops. Everybody, make sure you are safe when consuming alcohol.
Jay Turkey says, "I don't think," and this is referring to Bryan Kohberger, he would take the risk to get dog hair on his person or take the risk of Murphy making tons of noise. Yeah, that's a good point. As far as hanging out, I think that was the question that was earlier. Is do you think that the killer would have hung out with Murphy? And he makes a good point. If he does, then there's a good possibility he's going to get that dog hair on him. You know what I mean? Happy birthday, Jay Turkey.
I mean, but just walking in the house, it could be dog hair, in the living room, but it doesn't seem like they were the cleansiest people because of the way the kitchen was. But it could have been just because there was a party before, and they're pretty clean,
Yeah, well, they had some TikToks, and it looked pretty clean around there. I think it was just from the party the night before.
Yeah, because I remember the sink was full of dishes, and they were dirty, and like the Jack in the Box containers and everything was still on top of the table or the kitchen sink the next day. But to me, like even when we had our dog inside, I can clean as much as I want it, and her being a white shepherd, man, that dog hair was everywhere. I mean, I moved my fridge like a year later, and it was still in the back of the fridge. You know what I mean? Because you'd just be shedding everywhere.
Right. Yeah, man. I got a white dog too, Bonnie, and she. Okay, then, Blue, drink responsibly on your own free will and don't drive. There you go. Bon had an interesting comment. All right, there you go. Kara said that Xana had a coded lock. Again, if they have a coded lock, that tells me that the attack came as somebody was entering that room, whether it was Xana or Ethan. Right? Probably from surprise. So that's what that tells me.
Yeah, because I've had the coded locks before, and I would say, unless it didn't have any batteries and wasn't actually working, and they were just using it still as like a deadbolt,
No,
then maybe.
I think
I know
Xana's dad had just did it like that weekend.
Yeah, it should be new.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it was, as she was walking back in the room or something from the kitchen or something. Or they didn't close the door. Some people leave the door open.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Ethan's mom allegedly said Macy and Hunter drove the red Jeep to 1122 that morning to find Ethan allegedly. I don't know if it's true, but the perp didn't see the red Jeep outside of 4 a.m. Yeah, the red Jeep, from what I understand, was driven there by Ethan's brother, Hunter Chapin, not to be confused with Hunter Johnson. And I know that I don't think that Jeep was there. Well, you know what? I could be wrong. That could have been Ethan's Jeep. I'm not. I don't know, to be honest with you. So I'm not sure, but I know that I do know that Hunter Chapin did show up at that location, and from what I heard was they did impound his vehicle as well. I'm not sure why, but they did. What do you think, Blue?
Yeah, and the Jeep. I mean, I remember a while back they were talking about a Jeep, but I didn't look into it, so I don't know anything about it. I don't want to speculate or throw out any more conspiracies out there, so I'm just gonna say I don't know. It's the safest thing to say.
Yeah, 100%. Mama Five says G family stated that they didn't know where Murphy was found. I don't know. I think the probable cause affidavit states that it was found in Kaylee's room.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure that would all come out, in autopsy and stuff. Jennifer asked if, was be interesting if Xana had contusions or injuries to the back, or to her back or back of her head.
I'll say it also varies on the dog too. Like she said, some dogs don't shed as much, which is true. But
you kind of have to know the dog very well to know if it sheds or not. There.
My bad. And yes, my head's all hot.
Let's see. I think the attack started at the doorway. Bryan attack closed the door behind. See, that's the other thing too. If there was locks that automatically lock, is it possible that there wasn't a body there, and it was more so a locked door? But no, because Kaylee told me. I mean, not Kaylee. What Christy told me was that they spoke directly to Hunter Johnson, and that he had told them that the girls called him over. He went up to the second floor, couldn't get into the door, was able to make it open a little bit where he could look in, and he saw that it was Ethan's body that was blocking the door. He turned around and told everyone to get out. Who everyone is, I don't know if it was, didn't say everyone. I think the statement that she made was, he said, get the F out. So who he was telling to get the F out, don't know. How many people he was telling. It could have literally have just been Bethany and Dylan. It could have been Bethany, Dylan, and, somebody that came with him. I don't know. But that they turned around, got out. 911 was called at that time. And that's when everything went down from there.
Yeah. And hopefully we get to hear the 911 tape when they do the case, and I want to see how maybe we hear a couple voices and stuff like that.
Extreme Blonde brings up an excellent question. She says, do you know the layout of Xana's room? With the descriptions released of where the bodies were found, I don't understand the blood on the outside of the wall. I 100% agree with you. It doesn't make any sense to me, because if what we know that if what Hunter Johnson said was true, that Ethan's body was blocking the door. And we know in the probable cause affidavit, after they got the door open and started doing the scene, that they could see Xana's body from the doorway. That would indicate to me that both bodies were on the opposite side of the wall, or closer to the opposite side of the wall, where the blood on the outside of the house was coming down at. And I tried to ask Steve. He was on our show not too long ago. He's a real CSI, a retired CSI, about that. And he thought that maybe perhaps somebody would have had to have been within 2 feet of that wall, and the flooring and things like that had to be very subpar.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, to me, I think it's not blood. I just think it's a stain from the concrete. Because normally, to me, when at work, sometimes people are messy, and say they drop blood on the floor,
Mm-hmm.
and then you go back to clean the room after like the procedure's done.
Yeah,
it's not as red no more. It's more black. It darkens as you know, the oxygen turns it darker. So it looks red sometimes, like on t-shirts and stuff like that. But when the droplet hits the ground, it's red for a little bit, but it ends up turning more blackish. That's why I don't think it's blood when it's outside that wall. And they should have had, for living in that climate. I mean, I think you would complain to your landlord if you got a breeze coming in or something, or moisture from when the flooring would have been all warped if they had bad flooring. And by the photos, it looked like it was on new flooring. And I mean, they should have put a panel down and to do the wood flooring.
Well, I mean, it depends. If it was recently done, a lot of those things can be covered up, right? And we know that I think by the sound of it, it didn't sound like the occupants lived there over 6 to 8 months, right? Kaylee had just moved there. I don't know how long Maddie had lived there. I think Kaylee had moved in there before the semester before. And I think right before, at the end of the spring is when she moved in, something like that. And so I think Dylan, the same thing. Majority of them had just moved in there. So maybe there was some sort of renovation before they moved in. Cloud Bishop asks, and we're probably going to answer this one and begin going here pretty soon because we've got to go to work. But Cloud Bishop asks, is there any chance that Bryan Kohberger is found innocent? What do you think? And if he is, why?
The only thing I can think of was somehow, by some miracle, he can explain the DNA on the night sheet. He can have proof he sold it to somebody and he handled it then. But then who's he hiding? He should have said somebody's name already by now if he didn't want to be rotting in jail. So I don't think it's gonna line up that way. Because the DNA is pretty damning. It puts him at the scene. To me.
Right. You know, to me, I think that the only way he's found innocent is if the phone pings get thrown out. I have had a concern about his locations and his phone history for the night of the incident making it to court. And the reason being was the reason for that warrant. You know, he apparently law enforcement utilized the fact that he had a white car, that he matched the vague description that Dylan gave, that he had had special training because he was a PhD criminology student, would have had understanding of how, you know, law enforcement would have investigated him. And those were reasons why they pulled his locations. I don't think that's enough. And I think that could be pretty big if that gets thrown out, then the jury's not going to know that Bryan Kohberger turned his phone off at 2:50 in the morning, right, you know, before the murders, and then turned it back on at 448. I think that's pretty big evidence against Kohberger. So I think that if that gets thrown out, there's a good possibility that he may not be found guilty. But
the only other way that I think he would be innocent, but I think it'd be more like a plea of he was there and observed it, because you know how he was obsessed about it. What if somebody said, I am an SK, would you like to see me work? Right? And then he goes as just a follow along, just to document and see. I don't know. That's the only other way I think it would be like he's innocent, but he still would be guilty of an accomplice. And that's the only other way I would think then the the DNA would be on the sheet. But that's all speculation, you know.
Yeah. I mean, 100% drink, and I'm not saying he didn't do it, but that there are ways that somebody can get found innocent. But what about this, Blue? Do you think there's a possibility? Because I heard some rumblings. I can't say or speak on anything specific or anything at all, because I haven't heard anything positive. But what do you think about a plea deal? You think there's any possibility at this point, now that Kohberger's lost a couple of things? You know, they didn't throw out the indictment. Cameras are allowed in. You know, there hasn't really been any motions like the one that I thought they would have thrown out a motion to throw out the phone locations already. They haven't done that. Any chance you think there's a plea coming up?
I think with these cases, the plea deal is gone. I think it would be in the beginning. It would be like, hey, tell us what happened. Maybe instead of giving you life, the death penalty will give you life without parole, or will lessen the sentence. I don't think
a person can take a plea deal. A person can take a plea deal up until the point that the jury has made a decision, and it's been read to the court. So the jury can come up and say, we have a response. And at that moment, from what I understand, there can still be a plea deal until that verdict is read. Once it's read, it's set in court, it's solid. Yeah. Jeff H comes in with $5 super chat. I picture Ethan sitting on the floor, back against facing door as the killer goes across his throat. Killer could exit as Ethan falls backward up against the door. Man, that's possible. I mean, if he took a serious injury, but the only reason that I'm not sure about that one is because from the sound of it, it seemed pretty horrific, right? Like the scene was pretty bad, multiple stab wounds, and I'm just not sure if somebody's going to be, standing up. And then also there's the other victim in the room as well, Xana. Not saying it's not possible. It would make sense as to why his body would be blocking the door, right? But I don't know. What do you think? Do you think somebody could stand up?
I think at that moment there would be more like blood, like probably oozing out the doorway. That's the only way I would say the blood would travel. Because in my head, if they did the remodel right, anybody knows when you do flooring, if you got to caulk and seal the edges before you paint. That's the only reason I don't think the blood dripped out. Like it would have spread. Like when the restroom floods, it's gonna find the cracks. It'll eventually get through somewhere where there's no it's not sealed right, but it always goes to the doorways because there's no, it's not caulked and sealed in the doorway because you open and close the door.
Right.
But, yeah, I gotta get going here in a minute. So.
Yeah, let's answer this last question and then we'll call it a show. So you don't think the plea deal? Do you think there's a possibility that he would accept it? You think he would turn it down if offered? You think that the state would accept it if they came up with one, if the defense came up with one?
I think the way he's acted, he wouldn't take a deal. He's too. I think he's too invested now. Unless he gets really scared, but every time he comes to court, he looks confident. He's not playing a Richard Allen card where he's going crazy.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I don't think he's going to plead out. I think there's always that possibility. You never know. I mean, he knows the evidence that they have against him for the most part. He's gotten that in discovery. So, he's the only one that knows. I mean, maybe that's perhaps why they were trying to, fight so hard to get this case thrown out before it gets to the point where the evidence is presented. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I tend to think he's probably not, but we'll see. I want to thank everybody that's joined in tonight. Happy Halloween. Please be safe out there tomorrow if you're going to go trick-or-treating. I know Richard Allen has a court hearing tomorrow. I'll probably go live during it or shortly afterwards to talk about what happened. But for the most part, we're not going to have another show until Wednesday night. And, be safe tomorrow. Have a happy Halloween. Dia de los Muertos. You know how to say it better than me.
Dia de los Muertos.
There you go. Did that already happen?
Yes, it was like yesterday, I think.
Well, happy belated. Y'all have a good night. Thank you, mods. Thank you, members. Thank you, subscribers. We're on our way to 40K. We'll get there soon.
Thank you, everybody.
We'll be back next time. Peace.
I'll